Hello everyone! Welcome for a new video presenting the Oz Real Vinyl Painting Collections. So my name is Fanny Menardi, aka Pachamama Art. Tomorrow I will be at the 904 Jack's Beach Market, and I created a 13 vinyls collection, especially painting with mandalas and symbols and colors that also represent the network. So today is going to be a tribute to America. Of course, I was going to make a mastermind video to present everything, and of course in parallel of the mastermind summit that's happening right now. Okay, so remember that they trained me and now I'm ready to expand my wings into the world. Worked really hard for 5 years to join a network of amazing people, geniuses, fashion superstars, actors, politicians, literacy, and of course the scientific and space engineering. So when I see a picture of like the cosmos, that's it, I'm gone. I'm asking myself too many questions, what is it at the end of the universe? Nothing doesn't exist. Are the black holes actually points put here and there, as magnets to keep everything into orbit? I mean, that stuff goes far. But when I'm painting, I have time to think about all these things, to watch your conferences or listen to music. This is my way to meditate and stay inspired and connect, relax, and of course provide content, materials and inspiration that can also, the visuals are very, very important nowadays, whether you're working in fashion or in digital advertisement, marketing, and even for children or for adults, because of course it soothes the soul. So here I'm starting with the chacana, the Inca cross of the Incas, that reminds actually of a pendant. This pendant actually that I have right now, it's not the chacana, but it's the flower of life with the white stone of the Machu Picchu. Okay, and the 7 colors of the chakras and the petals for the flower of life. So all these colors, if you want to promote fertility or healing, you are using those colors, like this abstract painting that I have, or these ones, very pastel, pearly, metallic colors that are really just gorgeous to look at. So all this will be at the market tomorrow for very, very affordable prices. So $50 for the vinyls. This could be your token, okay, to a great investment later. I hope that my art will be valued within, the years with experience. And every time I would go to the market or I would promote my stuff online and people would not buy, I was never worried, because I know the quality of my art, the quality of the content. It's not just a simple coloring. I mean, these are layers and layers of paint. For example, there is 3 layers of glitter. You have to let them dry, and have that one too. With the Kardashians brand. So I am a huge fan of the Kardashians, and they really inspire feminism, gentleness, subtlety, kindness, glam, erotism, everything. They are just like queens and fairies. So welcome to our little world of fairies. They make you believe that everything is possible. And I'm always criticizing kind of America, that is really hard to enter. It's very cliquey. It's very hard to enter groups and communities and be accepted. But one thing that I love about America is that this is America. Everything is possible. If you go for it, you can reach extreme success, and influence, and then using your influence for a cause or for organizations and communities. So that is extremely inspiring. The same as the masterminds, you know, it's in France, you would have people tell you, trying to protect you and telling you it's not possible, you know, or maybe you should do something lower. Why we're aiming so high? And you know, maybe you could, you know, you don't know if it's gonna work or not. And of course, all this is true. And I think if I had to redo all this again, I probably wouldn't. If I knew how many years, you always think in 6 months I'm good, and then it's years and years, and it's always something, and proving more of yourself. But at the same time, it keeps you busy, creative, you know, entertained. What is your life if you're not entertained? If you're not feeling joy or going on, you know, you're just on survival. So as long as the entire world is not even on survival mode yet, we have to really bring awareness and gather and try to bring more equality, I think, in the resources and connecting with these networks. Of course, we bring investors, we bring interest, we bring waves and waves of support. So please continue to support us. This year is a very important one. It is the last year of the Secretary General. So we're going to talk about this in a minute. But when you have people that are actually telling you what you wish your little voice would tell you, like, but are you going to aim so low? Are you going to aim for the highest of your dreams? Are you going to aim for what seems impossible? But if some people do it, why not you, you know? Everybody's the same. People trying to make it in a crazy world, and keeping yourself in competition also obligates you to deliver excellence. So I wanted to specify that I love Skims. I love Skims. I have a lot of their clothes, and the materials are always so beautiful. Like I said, big fan of the Kardashians. So here's some little kitty love. All right, saying congratulations for all your achievements and thank you for all the support. We love you so much. Hope to cross your path someday. Continuing talking about investors and how the successful people who made it all the way to being super famous, superstars, yes, there is talent and providing excellent quality content, being really good at being an actor, and all these, you know, qualities that you need to do your specialty, or being extremely beautiful and fashion models. But you also need to be extremely smart and have such personality that you're able to go through the obstacles and staying kind. So, you know, you still have good relationships and people still love and appreciate you. And at the same time, you don't want to be stepped on by people. And a lot of people won't be afraid of stepping on you for, you know, to have their own ways. And sometimes it's understandable because it's survival. That's what we all do. That's what I do to protect my family. And at the same time, you're still going to keep defending on equality for everyone. So being able to reach these networks of very talented, super famous people, but are also very intelligent and committed into a cause or the world matters, is very, very precious, because then we can use that to exponentially grow an organization together in a way that now we're in charge and we're taking part of the decision making in the world, because the economy is not just controlled by the government. The economy is controlled by the business owners, by even the people who struggle and who share with you the challenges they have through, for example, just interest rate. Interest rate is something that just too much for me. Like, when you don't have insurance, you can't afford health insurance, for example, you go to the dentist and it's more expensive for you. Like, the actual flat rate is more expensive for someone who's uninsured than for someone who is insured. Like, what, your service doesn't cost the same depending on the person? That's crazy. So interest rates, same thing. If you have a low credit score, you're the one who should need the most help, they're making you paying 17% interest rate for a car payment. Like, I'm paying more in interest every month than my car payment. So that is just very insane. But if people don't speak up about it and tell you what's going on down there, then you can't know. So that's why it's so important to share your story. And then, of course, once you make it and you have a lot of money, you don't want to just go spread it out unconsciously and that is lost. You need to do it with strategy and the right way that is going to have the most ripple effect. Okay, so this is what the United Nations have been trying to do, and I think they really need our help. They need, a new waves of, they've been doing so many events for youth, and youth leadership. So it's really our generation, they're calling for help of a new wave of motivated, involved, influential people that can take the organization against the big giants like the oil companies. It's so hard for them to do the transition because, of course, so many people, they made us live for decades. I have family members, of my ex-husband that work in the oil rigs, and this is how they make their money. This is how we've been powered for years. So we can't hate on them, but we have to help them transition by offering them trainings toward renewable, toward solar, safe cleanup of the oceans and transforming the materials and stuff like that. So, for example, the French Minister of Marine Life and Environmental Transition, they're criticizing her because they say, she's friends with the oil companies and stuff like that. Okay, but then that's an underdog advantage because now you know them, so you're more able to convince them, say, look, I'm on your side, but you also have to go along with the world, what the world needs and wants right now. There's no other way to then putting solar panels. Solar panels, so far, this is what we have. That is the more secure. The sun, until the sun is there, we will always have that power without necessitating, without needing that much equipment. Okay, so the United Nations, I'm calling all our support to the United Nations for the Nobel Peace Prize, for the Secretary General Antonio Guterres. He's worked his entire life, this is literally a life achievement for him to retire this year. This is the last year we can give him this prize. There are a lot of people, beautiful people on this earth. The Dalai Lama would deserve one too. So many people, but for this year, this one is for him. Definitely, he's such an angel and a good man. He always makes me laugh because it's he will always have your back, and it's a great, great network to be in. Unfortunately, you see a lot of humanitarians that are being attacked and suffer when they are trying to help. And you have big governments that have weapons in their hands that, it's also their own survival. I was talking about what you're ready to do when you're on survival mode. So you have, leaders that are involved fully into big scale wars. And, I was seeing yesterday the Saddam Hussein trial. When he got sentenced to death by hanging. That was a great example of history of what happens to dictators and people who abuse their people and spread terrorism around the world. So the president or prime minister of Israel, Netanyahu, and Vladimir Putin in Russia, or even in Ukraine, Zelensky, with all this money laundering or weapon trafficking, I don't know, but that's not normal that the wars last like this. Who benefits from it? If it wasn't beneficial economically, then they wouldn't do it. So some people, there is definitely some corruption, a lot of corruption. Russia denounced that corruption many times. Now I'm not defending them either because war in any way is unacceptable. Just imagine Italy came to claim Nice, then the county of Savoy, centuries later. You're okay, that's a little late now to talk about that. They don't need to have such a big land. They already have Russia, which is one of the biggest countries in the world. But he's also a full part of the BRICS, of the big organizations. He did denounce the corruption. So now he's fighting for his freedom, basically. and what does he want? You know, in a negotiation, if you want a long-lasting peace and what do they want, then you have to give people something they really want. So if he really wants his freedom, we have to give him a key to do that, but in a way that he's going to come out of this even stronger, being the leader in the BRICS, to remove all the nuclear weapons, to start this transition process of just basically collecting all the nuclear weapons, and then the nuclear transition towards renewable energies, of course. But they're already doing that in Russia because they have electric trains. So we could also, you know, bring Tesla out there. I'm pretty sure they have it. But you see, offering this great project in exchange for technology, for the Space Olympics 2030, working with Elon Musk to trade, you know, this technology, and still keeping this war culture, because war is a culture. Okay, go back to the ancient Olympics, the gladiators and stuff like that. This was their entertainment. Some men, they're wrestlers, boxers. Some men want to show their strengths, their physical strengths, and they want to compete and show extreme sports, or even aviators and stuff like that. So we can't say, oh, this is completely out of the picture, because you need to serve everyone. So if they still want this fight, this excellence and exceptional physical abilities and stuff like that, then we get to offer them something that does it without killing each other. So the Space Olympics would be professional aviators doing like kind of a giant laser tag in space, with no casualties, of course, like an actual laser tag. And that would be the Space Olympics. So imagine that. That would mean that we have developed sustainable energy spacecraft that are non-polluting, and that they can go from one space to another, from one point of space to another at super speed. So this is what I offer to develop this year by being at the Nobel Prize ceremony. If we can have Antonio Guterres, Elon Musk, and myself to just have this great big event in history where we make all this a reality. So I know the Nobel Peace Prize is not happening in the same place. It's in Norway, but it will still be there. You know, it will be like a triangle of pillars, something really powerful happening there in this northern part of Europe. So very excited. Get another one here. So this one, another reference to the emerald color necklace of Kim Kardashian in India, the emerald tablets, of course, the Chinese aspect. Remember that these prophecies that inspire us to see deeper meaning into the events of life, or our challenges, or even of the destiny factor, or how people kind of venerate, worship those traditions, those legends, myth, or spirits, whatever it manifests like in your life. I know for me, for some time, it's very physical, the way it manifests. So even in China, they have the Tui Bei Tu. Is very cool, and the panda like eating his eucalyptus. I mean, you see, it's many layers. You have the Nobel Peace Prize here, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres.
Why?
So it's full of references, full of meaning. This, my friends, could be your investment, okay? For the future, buy a token now, $50, and maybe one day they'll be worth, you know, super thought after, because this is literally my Nobel Prize campaign collection. Okay, I wasn't competing for the Nobel Prize. I was competing for the Nobel Peace Prize for the Secretary General. And then I was like, okay, but we're all in this together. If I'm going to campaign, I want my coin too, you know. I'm an author. I'm an artist. I expressed everything that I've put in drawings. I've put it in writing, just like learning a language. you know? So once you know and once you see, it's really hard to unsee, and you start seeing the codes, the decoding the messages in everything, in all the advertisement, the political messages, but also in nature. You will see that nature talks to you all the time. Synchronicities, like a license plate of a car in front of you, someone knocking at the door in the shirt they're wearing, or it's everywhere, you know, and then you feel guided. And when you feel guided, then you never feel alone anymore. And you feel like, okay, you're guided by God or by your higher self or destiny or Mother Nature. You're here with a mission. It makes you feel purpose. Okay, so now everything that you do is a lesson and something you'll be able to share later. Like, for example, this family library. You see, I think what's really cool about this series is the boxes, like the CDs that I found. I was at the thrift store and I saw those vinyls, and I was like, I want vinyls that are meaningful, with a title that is meaningful, or that are really, you know, just cool looking. So this one was the Family Library of Great Music, Wagner, some classical music. So I put some classical quotes and languages here with hopefully message of inspiration to influence decisions of the leaders, the decision makers, you know. So for example, from one day to day one, from day one to done, from done to legion. So that was my mentor Dean Graziosi, who was always saying from that one day to day one. And then he came out with a new training called From Day One to Done. And then I was like, okay, cool, he's continuing the series. What comes next? I'm like, well, when it's done, what do you have left to do? Then call your legion. Okay, so it's just like the flower of life stages. First, you have the seed of life. When you're planting the seed, an idea, or starting to talk about a project. And the flower of life is when you start building this project. It's flowering, okay? You're writing your book, you're making your painting collections, you're writing oracle cards. That's my example personally of my value ladder, okay? But for example, if you take the example of the Kardashians, they would have a show, and then they started each building their brands, and then they started doing like fashion show for big creators, big designers and stuff like that. So it's the value ladder. Or Elon Musk, he started by, he's a little alien different because he did everything at the same time. He was like starting Tesla, SpaceX and all this stuff, where in his case, that would be more the determination. And just because there were obligatorily so many failures, you know, launching a spacecraft. I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody ever launched a spacecraft without blowing it up before, or just trying some smaller experiment. So he had the guts and the courage to actually do it and take the critic. I mean, the day that the Dragon exploded, blew up, I think it was it in 2019 or 2020? I can't imagine the level of like disappointment, losing money, losing credibility, the attacks, the environment, like the guilt. And of course you have to start over everything. I mean, you know, you just like give up, but nope, kept going, and now he's the number one go-to for spacecraft and space exploration, colonizing Mars, like sponsored by the US government. That is crazy. So definitely when you have your project, we've also seen it during the politics when they were talking about the EV mandate. Are they going to caution it? Are they going to, how do you call it? What was the word? Put an exclusivity on it. Or are you going to leave, you know, give good tax advantage and stuff like that? Like the business, once it's created, once you have your product, it can't just live on its own if you don't have the backup of the network. So in his case, that would be the government. So in my case, that would be writing the book, and then finding a publisher, making a collection and either selling it or deciding, do I sell it or do I keep it for something else? You know, like I was saying, when people wouldn't buy my painting, I wouldn't be mad. I would be like, okay, this is because later on I'm going to donate that to the visitor center in New York City. So then it doesn't belong to just one person, but a lot of people are going to be able to see them every day. You imagine that? I was like, man, thank God I didn't sell them. And this is why I always kept the prices up, because I wanted people who realize, you know, the quality and the meaning of the work. Like this little thing, you'll be like, oh, it's just some letters. It actually took me a couple of days to, I mean, maybe not days, but a couple of hours to find the languages, translate into, so this is Shavian language, which I learned from the Nobel Prize page in publications, which I had never heard about. So what is it, the phonetic language? I don't know, I'm a language teacher, but I don't do phonics. This one means, it's a quote from the Secretary General of the United Nations that means, we will never ever give up working to make this world a better place. And they really do. No matter how many attacks, they're just there ready to go and help people out. That is wow. So I understand why they're excited to work with young people and with art and, you know, bringing culture, because when you see all the drama and the disasters, that's heartbreaking. If you live just off of that, you're going to be very depressed and feeling helpless, even though you're doing, and even imagine when you have the trucks, you have the food, you have everything, and they're stuck at the border because of the government or being shot. That's even more helpless. You're like, man, the anger you must have at the world. And even that, they don't choose anger. They prefer to, you know, spread kindness and just persist and reassuring people. But when they're on the side of the gate, this has been enough. This has lasted enough. Like, we are heartbroken. People are heartbroken to see with the social media live stream what's going on and people being killed, and we can't do anything because there is one guy, president or prime minister, what is he, Netanyahu of Israel, who's just blocking everything, and Trump that supports him, and now his little doggies, like, they're like, these people are savage animals. Yes, I agree. Terrorists, they're savage animals. We need to exterminate them. But the problem is, like, the Palestinians, they have innocent people. They're not all terrorists. It's like saying there's a house, there's some gangsters in my neighborhood and they kill the entire neighborhood because they want to make sure they get all of them. Like, imagine if this would happen in America. So I don't understand why we don't go and help them. You know, Russia should bring the drones to Israel, the drones that they have planned for Ukraine, give Ukraine a break and go to Israel, drop the drones, identify, you know, the terrorist groups and kill them. And the rest of the people save them, because after that it's gonna be impossible to have peace. Because the memory, the trauma in those people, those survivors. So maybe some will be too weak and they'll be like, I just want to live in peace, leave us alone. But some others, they're gonna transcend, you know, the little kids, for example, that are gonna be 2 years old now when they grow up, and they're gonna kind of remember what they did to their parents or their brothers and sisters, like the 13 years old kids and stuff. You think they're gonna grow up like they love the world? They're probably gonna grow up pretty angry. So it's never gonna end. So this has lasted enough. They need to do something, and it's everyone's problem. It's not the problem of Israel. Yes, I think he's a criminal and he's not making the right decisions, but at the same time, you know, he's got to make decisions since nobody else is helping. Why don't they send the troops there? Russia and America. Vladimir Putin yesterday, he was remembering how, maybe that's actually why he said that. Yesterday he was reminding how America and Russia saved Europe from the Nazis in Germany, during the World War II, the World War II. So why not aligning forces right now to go save Israel? Maybe that's exactly what they were suggesting. You see, you have to read between the lines. Sometimes you see news and you interpret it, for what it is, what they're saying, and you react a certain way, and then it makes you think. 2 days later, you may, man, maybe we can do that. Maybe that's what, or maybe subconsciously that's what they meant, or maybe that's what they're trying to say. There are solutions. No matter what the problems, there are solutions, but we need to decide that we want to fix them or not. Plain and simple. They keep saying, yeah, we're ready for peace. We're ready for peace. They're all ready for peace, but nobody's making peace. That's crazy. Il faut être optimiste pour le futur. Dieu réunit ceux qui s'aiment et Dieu me donne la foi. So ça, c'est Ophélie Winter. Il faut être optimiste pour le futur. Of course, it's Elon Musk. It's so true. I've put it there because it's a great reminder every day to not fall into that depression, into this being scandalized. You have to always keep that as fuel to do better for humanity, but at the same time, having hopes and dreams and culture and art and things that make you smile, things that make you laugh, enjoying your own life. If you're lucky enough to have this life, then live it to the fullest, okay? So there's nothing you can do right now for someone in Israel, then at least enjoy your life. So you're honoring what God is blessing you with. Seriously. Dieu m'a donné la foi. Yes, it's true. I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in specifically like a God, but there's obviously some mystical creator, mathematician, of course, that so crazy. Now, isn't it crazy that everything is probably just a bunch of mathematical equations? Or maybe a scientist would say that everything is just a bunch of combustion and fire and elements. And maybe like a conspiracy theories would be, or Elon Musk, an engineer, would be like, everything is none but coding, and virtual reality. Like, I'm pretty sure every single person visualizes the world and their universe with the language that speaks to them. Okay? For some other people, it has to be a god, like feeling like they have a father figure, someone, watching of them. And for an artist, maybe the universe is just a bunch of colors, but that's so crazy. That also explains religion, why it's so stupid to fight for religions, because in the end, we're all believing in the same thing. Okay, we all know that something created everything, that there's a miracle of these rocks in the universe that just formed a planet, and how even they started there, like, that's crazy, So we all agree on the same thing. We just put different stories to them, because stories that correspond to our history, that become to our beliefs, our culture, the environment where we live in. For example, did you know that in Inuit, the language of the Inuits, the little Eskimo over there, in the bonkies, in the icicles, they have like 50 words to say the word snow. Why? Because they have 50 different types of snow. For us, snow is snow. It's just one word. Why? Because our environment doesn't require to have more words. So the environment also will influence your language, your culture, your belief. But they're fighting for religion just to say which story is the best. It's as if I was arguing with my neighbor, because yesterday I went to shop at Publix and they went to shop in Walmart, and we were arguing. I was like, no, but people were shopping at Publix. And they're like, that is not true. They were shopping at Walmart. Okay, so we're just arguing. Okay, yeah. So we all believe in the same thing, but it's just different stories and influences. It's comic when you think about it, and yet people are killing each other for that. So maybe education, exposing them to humor. Actually, we should make a commercial out of that. So, just to influence the consciousness, and they're more distracted into thinking about it than fighting. And then Russian right here. This quote is, with great freedom, now with great powers come great responsibility. Because yes, Russia is one of the biggest powers in the world, which gives them the responsibility, okay, to care for their people, for the environment, to ensure we live in a safe world. If you're a leader but you're terrifying everyone and we don't feel safe, you have impunity, you can be arrested otherwise, there is threats of escalations. You can't lead like that, okay? You have to have your people love you and respect you, not because they're scared of you, but because they know you can accomplish great things. And that's what I believe. Like the Russian people, they're so intelligent. Every people from Russia or Scandinavia or Sweden, all these Nordic countries, they're so intelligent. They all speak 5 languages or 6. They go in the world and they have this charisma and character to like sell their brand or stand their ground, aim at big things. They love the luxury, the beauty, aristocracy. This is Russia for me, the great architecture. So that's what we want to see. That's what we want to promote. You guys can be the ones who got the world free from nuclear weapons. That's a great responsibility. Con libertà viene gran responsabilidad. So this one was a quote from Nelson Mandela. With freedom come great responsibilities. It's true. Once you free yourself, then you kind of have a duty to go and do better for others, mostly if it's something that was gifted to you or a miracle that happened to your life to transform your own life, or a revelation. Then you owe the world to share that. This is why I wrote my book, because all this stuff that I'm talking about, you can see how passionate I am, but this is because I found other people that were also passionate. Because if you're passionate about something and you're alone and you don't really have anyone to talk about it, or when you talk about it, they're kind of like, whatever. Or yeah, that's cool, okay, but there's no possibility to partner because we're all broke or single moms. There's many reasons why you have all these great sparks that just vanish or disamorphs in the way of ascension because you didn't find the network. So when you have the network and you find the people that are talking about the same thing, and all of a sudden you have all these confirmation, and you're like, okay, what is going on? So when that first happened to me in America, because before America that was happening to me, but with Pachamama, with nature. I was very alone in Peru as well, but all this magical, crazy stuff, they were happening to me in nature, with the elements, with the birds, the animals, the synchronicities like this. So when I came to America, this started happening, but with people online that were like sharing the same thing, or same things happening in our lives simultaneously, crazy stuff. Or like having like my door opens, like Metatrons, and having such downloads and having to paint. I couldn't stop. I was like, I was mandated to paint. I would wake up in the middle of the night. You gotta paint this. Like I was just painting stuff, I felt like, okay, this energy, I'm just a tool, an instrument to this energy. And that made me feel guided, important. So then when I felt how much power those symbols give you, the inspiration, you see, every time I'm in front of a painting, it's like a window, a dimension that opens, and you're talking about certain things. You have certain energy coming out. You can feel it, right? When I change the background and stuff like that, you can feel the intensity. I was like, this is so important in my life. I need other people to feel like this. I need other people. Imagine if everybody's like high on culture, or high on like excitement, or making their projects and stuff. Yeah, you go in the street, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm starting a new project. Like, and the other one be like, oh, me too. Ah! like, you know, everybody would be so hype and excited. So I decided to write everything that I would know. Because like if it makes that effect on me and I see it makes this effect on other people as well, and it makes you powerful, really. It's just the energy that goes through you. You're like, okay, this is the energy of the ancient Egyptians that are bringing you something that needs to come out. You know, they say in the pyramids, for example, you know, when the student is ready, the master appears, or something like this. And then when the student is ready, the master disappears. But I always say, when you're in the pyramids, the doors, they were always there. Okay, they were not hiding the doors. It's just we couldn't see them because our consciousness level wasn't ready yet. So we would be in the pyramid and everything seemed, the doors seemed closed, or there would be nothing, you couldn't see it. But as you make more discoveries and more studies and you're expanding your mind and your knowledge and you're becoming more ready, then all of a sudden it's there. You find a new room in the pyramids, or you find a new door somewhere. So, or you see on the wall the inscriptions that weren't there before. Okay, you're training your eyes. And then when I do those paintings, I often do that. I camouflage letters and things. Why? All these optical illusions. Sometimes I camouflage symbols to train the eye to see between the lines, to outline or highlight things. You know, like in the movies when you have a text and you have like letters and words that pop out like codes. So that's what these paintings train you to do. So they're also healing tools or activation tools, actually. Activation tools. Okay? So, and the last one is there are Atlantean letters. So this is an alphabet that was brought by Matthias de Stefano in Egypt. They had a giant wall with all the Atlantean alphabet that was absolutely beautiful. And each of the letters, it's not an alphabet like us, but each of the letters had a meaning, just like the Hebraic letters, where each letter carries its own meaning, its own energy. So here I wrote, with great power comes great responsibility. I wrote the same quote in Atlantean letters, so it's probably, this one is probably wrong because I literally took the same letter like we say in English, great, G-R-E-A-T, and I spelled the words like English with the Atlantean letter, which I'm pretty sure it's not like this. Languages don't work like that. It's probably like a whole other word. But that was just having fun doing that, like I do with the hieroglyphs, just to practice writing the symbols and having those letters on it. And this one is the talisman with the magic lamps. So you see the magic lamp, I believe in this stuff so much, I tattoo it on my skin. Every time people are asking me what's all my tattoos, and I'm like, I'm manifesting, okay, I'm manifesting my big future, I'm manifesting my better life. So I have my magic lamp, I have my KK logo right here, that you see behind me. I have my sustainable development spaceship with a diamond and the symbol of Pachamama, which the spiral right here was the first one I did on the 11-11-11. Which is the symbol of Pachamama, and this was my last day in Peru, the 11-11-11. This is where I started seeing the 11, so I wanted my last day to remember this date forever. And I did this tattoo on the 11-11-11, so 14 years. So you see, they keep telling you your dreams come true. It's possible if you work hard for it. It's possible. Dreams come true. So, you know, the day you make it, you're like, yeah, keep going, guys. It's amazing. But if you don't make it, then you'd be probably like, I would never do this again. You know, that would be a shame. I see all this art. It would not exist, you know, but I would like think the debts and how much I had to, like for me, taking 4 years to pay off my debt, that was the worst case scenario, you know, it was, I thought I would pay off my credit card debt and find a job, everything very quickly. Within 6 months, it took me 2 years to find a job. So I accumulated so much debt. And I was like, man, I need a miracle. Like right now, I was ready to go work somewhere else. And in the end, I'm glad I got to stay in my home with my pets and my kids and finding the job here. It got me back to the work routine, but at the same time, enjoying my everything, my beautiful life here. So the stress of not knowing is just we need certainty, we need reassurance. When you don't have people to reassure you, when you're just by yourself, it's just on you all the time to believe and stuff. And at the same time, if you have kids, you don't really have a choice. You need to keep going. So I'm grateful for him. As difficult as it is to raise a child, I'm grateful for him. So yes, so that's my magic. You see, sometimes the stuff you wish for, it actually happens better than you think, because what you wish upon fear, like to rushing things, then it's not the best outcome possible. You know, they used to say at the highest level or nothing at all. They kept saying me that, at the highest level or nothing at all. Like when I called the Navy to offer them my trainings, because my book is a team building training. It's a 600 pages team building trainings that I can pick. Okay, what do you want to work on? Politics, pure art, graphic design, symbology, healing and holistic medicine, chakras, I don't know, anything, you know, education, something for teenagers. Literally, I can teach anything with this book. And the point that you have it, when you guys download this book, free to download online at pachamamart.org/pachamamart -encyclopedia, download it for free. You can use it in your own company, in your own business, with your own teams. There's a bunch of charts and activities, mind maps, stuff that I left empty, okay, for you to print and distribute. You literally you want a mind map to outline a project, or a chart to visualize on a long term, 6 months term, 5 years, 10 years, everything is ready. Grab the book, you just have to make copies and work on it with your teams. Like, this is to make you gain time. So if this book could become the Bible of business, you have trainings, content from the best people, mentors, trainers, engineers, scientists, superstars, politicians in the world. There's extract from all of them. There are stories, and of course the practical aspect of painting an actual mandala for those who really want it for art, and then how you can apply it in the figurative, which is the business life. The last step of the flower of life, I didn't finish earlier, but it's the fruit of life. When you finally collect the fruits of your labor. Okay, so the the book is like, it's kind of the same thing. You have the 3 parts, okay? The background, the outline, and the feedback, right? The connecting the network. Also funny, because the box of that one, the box is 10 years of gold. So I posted that the day that the President Trump went to visit the Federal Reserve. So we didn't see the gold, because I have it. It's right here. I have the gold, okay? Get your token before it's too late. So now let's all make a wish. We're gonna go see the next disc. So make a wish, everyone. Close your eyes, visualize the little magic lamp, and ta-da! So that's my wish this year. I wish to meet Elon Musk at the Nobel Prize ceremony. Imagine. I know it's not good to ask, we shouldn't be begging for that. It should be a surprise, but at the same time, you have some opportunities that don't present themselves twice, and you have to stand for yourself, or else who will? So if I would be there, it would mean that someone did that for me and did nominate me. So I would be super grateful and honored for this. If you have the slightest chance of making it in life, just preach for yourself, you know. And there's for sure gonna be Elon Musk this year. I mean, who else in the world right now would earn the Nobel Prize of Physics? I mean, the man has done Neuralink, SpaceX, Tesla, the tunnel company, the politics, mostly his big comeback in politics, you know. So I mean, his help mostly. So yeah, so I'm wishing for that. Why? Of course, I think those ceremonies are amazing. You get to meet people and you get to celebrate. And I think even better, one step further, if you're meeting certain people to plan for the future and have a project together, that would be even better. So that's my wish this year, so we can connect and talk about spaceships. So as you know, SpaceX is the greatest aircraft company in the world. They have billions of dollars. So if you want to do innovation, you need funds. And I have the new generation spaceship plan equation in collaboration with the International Space Federation. When I posted my system, so it's a renewable energy system sparked by solar or lightning, and it goes around using acoustic levitation, anti-magnetism, temperature and crystals and the steel. So everything would be within the walls itself of the spaceship. The whole system is in the walls. So that's revolutionary, and the only thing I was missing was the proportions of my anti-gravity electromagnetic equation. And the International Space Federation, Nassim Haramein, they posted it, they published it, they found it, they published it. So I don't know if they discovered that with their own calculations or if they found it from book. I think everything that they published in this paper is their own discovery, and also a compendium of all the progress of researches that paved the way to take us to this day. But since the beginning, I was like, if I can work with SpaceX, like, so that we can create a prototype and then try the spaceship and make it happen. You know, they're started already with the rockets. They're going to Mars. They're building their spaceships. Okay, so maybe it's not going to be in a year, but by the time they're starting shipping to Mars, if we can transition right away. I was talking about helping the oil company to transition to renewable energy. That's exactly that. He's already done that for the automotive industry. So now we're going to do it together for the space industry. So additionally to being an amazing human and getting to know, you know, the true genius of the planet right now. So that's, you know, that's personal. But you also have the professional aspect and like working on a project like this that is going to change humanity. And now the space race is no longer something that is going to pollute and raise criticism, but it's going to be super safe and can lead us also to the Space Olympics 2030, looping back to peace in the world that we're saying. So it's very strategic to have us all this year reunited, because it's an emergency. There's people dying, there's the environment, you know, calling for help to not go crazy. Yeah, so we are the Martian now. We are the Martians now, okay? So excited just to that all these little crazy ideas see compounded and then leads to that. So I don't know, maybe I'm still dreaming again, but if this has the slightest chance to become reality, just imagine. Yeah, massive excitement and success and inspiration. And one more wish that I have, of course, because I never forget the environment and the animals. So we have dolphins right now stuck in a pool in Antilles, Marineland, where I used to grow up. I used to saw those orcas and those dolphins, and they voted a great law in France that forbids animals in captivity, but the problem is that they don't have a plan to safeguard those that are already in captivity, so now they're stuck there, and if they don't do anything, they're gonna die. So you're trying to protect animals, and in the end, you take them their fame, because they were superstars, you know, having kids cheering for them and everything. Okay, you're not for animals in captivity, I'm against it, but in one way it's good to learn about them. And then these animals, they got used to the crowd, and you know, if that's what their meaning for life, and now you're taking this from them, and on top of that you're leaving them behind in a pool. So there is emergency, we need to take care of these. They are there until the end of the year, so we need to find a solution. You know, there is the water right next to it, so this is another example of the bureaucracy where probably not allowed to, whatever. You have the ocean right next to it, like it's literally, I could put them in my car and bring them to the beach, like it's 2 minutes. It's crazy, but they don't know what to do with them. Come on now, common sense. Whew, wow, that's so exciting. Anyway, so these will be also at the Jack's Market this weekend, also available on my website, pachamamart.org/original-art, and you will have all these for $50. So if all this that I'm talking about really happens, maybe these will be worth, I don't know, $100,000 later. Like, these are masterpieces. Like, you don't realize, like, can you see the quality of these? For me, they're just like little treasures. These ones, see, it looks very simple, but it's actually several layers of gold paint, and the glitter as well, several little layers of glitter, and these are so cool. I love it. So these are this one is part of the box. There is a box of 4 paintings that I'm going to show right now. So this is part of the 4. There's only one box that comes with 4, and this one has a double side. So I'm about to show you now. Hope to see you. So this refers to a scene in the Emerald Tablets with when they say that the vessel is gonna come off the ground in front of the Sphinx. So that is the scene that I'm representing right there. So of course, we could have no spaceship without that painting that's behind me, the Ministry of Sound, and those stargates represented with the Chacana, okay, that will help us travel through space very quickly. So, which is, I believe, the Incas used to have codes in the gates, in their gateways. So you see, you have like the ocean and the land. So these were complementary, they go in the same box. I wrote all bunch of names of all the people that represent the network that have been inspiring me, that are part of this like matrix that we're all coming in, that actually is the person I would like to see shaping the matrix. Right, so we're all in this together. So this would be representing kind of the collective, you see, and this one represents more the individuality and what, like helping a dolphin or helping a child, a student. You know, I'm a teacher, and I will always feel like, you know, I don't do good enough. But also if you're helping just, you know, 5 classes of children, if everybody does this, imagine the impact that you have all around the world. If you're helping a dolphin, just one cause, you're making a difference for these, and everybody does this at individual and local level. That is already a lot. So this could be, you see, the quote I would associate to this would be finding local solutions to global problems. Yes. So there's the Mastermind Summit happening right now. This is what they're doing. They have their screens and they're transforming people's life one by one, training after training with consistency after many, many years. We're so grateful for them. Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, we have Billy Carson, Forbidden Knowledge, and his wife, Elizabeth Carson. I also wrote on that disc Ellen DeGeneres, because you know what? Even when the business, I was into the business, this and that, and nothing was working. And I was so at the end of my life. The only thing that would make me smile and just like make me laugh would be to watch Ellen. Like literally, I was like, nothing else is working. I need Ellen. Like, you know, the laugh is the best medicine. She introduced me to all the American superstars, because remember, I didn't come here. I didn't grow up with the American culture. So getting to know the actors, the superstars, and then her putting them on the spot all the time, that was just funny, you know. And so she's a very good person. Ellen and Portia, they have a foundation for the gorillas over there in what country? Well, I don't remember what country, in like Ethiopia, I think, or so they're really, really great people. And it's just annoying to see so many attacks on celebrity, but I guess it's part of fame. You have the people who love you and the people who hate you. The Kardashians, of course. I wrote Kim, but it's all the family, because they're such great sisters and family in general, and people empowering women. The Mysterious Cities of Gold. Did you know that breaking my arm when I was 19 years old is what changed my life? Like it was the day before going to the university, and I was walking my dog, nothing crazy, and it started raining, the floor was slippery, and I fell, and I tried to catch myself on my arm, and I broke my arm. And so I couldn't write, I couldn't drive, I couldn't do anything for 6 months. So I was stuck at the house. I had to skip that year and go continue later. So it was my first time ever, since I had been to school as a child, that I had a year off school. So I was 19. And so I was in my bed, smoking weed all day with my broken arm. And this is when I started drawing. And I was watching the Mysterious Cities of Gold. Someone gave me the full box with all the seasons, all the DVDs of the Mysterious Cities of Gold. There was this little boy called Esteban that was conquering South America, going with the Spanish conquistadores. And I was watching this series and I was starting drawing. See, even at this time, Pachamama was already calling me. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go live in Peru, and I'm gonna have a son called Esteban. And I already knew, like, that's crazy. And then a few years later, I went to live in Peru and stuff like that. So the condor, you know, in the Mysterious Cities of Gold, they're looking for the Incas, they're looking for the cities of gold. They find a great condor, all fully made of gold, made of solar energy. And as soon as the sun rises in the morning with the solar, the condor just spangs his wings and takes them from place to place, explore Machu Picchu, all that. This is so awesome. The Emerald Tablets of Thought. So this, of course, is the book that changed my life. Like, I would read things and they're happening in my life at the same time, as if he was watching me and writing. I mean, it was like, and I'm pretty sure everybody who reads this has this feeling, because it speaks to several layers of understanding. So you're reading it, and I was like, man, he's a time traveler. Of course, Thoth is the god of time travelers. He's a time traveler, so he sees what's happening right now. He's writing it 36,000 years ago, because he's in all dimensions at the same time. He lives through us. So you will read this book and you will really feel like you are part of this prophecy. You're like, oh my God, I'm this guy. And then later down the book, you're like, no, I'm this guy. Like, oh, okay, you recognize yourself a little bit in all the characters, like just like in the hero's journey. Okay, sometimes you're the hero of the journey, but you can also be the helper and the guide in someone else's journey. And, you know, you can play many roles in the theater of life. Isis and Osiris, because it's a big legend in Egypt. The Obamas, of course. I love the Obama family. I think they're such pillars in the history of America. The first African-American, black president. His wife, they're just good people with Joe Biden. They're really people of heart, you know, that really care about the people. They're really present when they talk to people, you know. You see how they behave with everyone as equal, and they're super simple. Like, I love also that Ellen was always showing, you know, Michelle Obama and putting her on the spot and stuff, like kind of humanizing, you know, the elite a little bit. And Joe Biden, such a man of great speeches, great compassion, the lower middle class spokesperson. Really love Joe Biden, love Kamala. I really think that they lost because they didn't choose the right VP, and they lost this last election because they didn't stand against the weapon trafficking. You know, she just kept repeating what she was told to say, and instead of taking a stand against the weapon trafficking that was going on with NATO and Ukraine and stuff like that, and trying to negotiate with Russia, they should have done that instead of opposing, you know, strongly. But this is how it is, and now we got, you know, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, so it's a new page being written, and life goes on, you know. And we're gonna try to take the best of both of the governments. Obama is always so classy. When, you know, Trump was elected, he was super respectful, and now they're just talking crap about him, you know. They're backlashing, like, are you serious right now? Like, literally, he's probably the only Democrat that respected Trump during the election. Not during the campaign, okay, but after he was elected, he was the one kind of who passed down the torch, because Joe Biden didn't want to, you know, because they basically just hate each other. So yeah, and of course the superstars, you know, Snoop Dogg, The Rock, J-Lo, Beyonce, Shakira, they're all everything is possible, you know. One comes from her pueblo in Colombia, the other one, he was like stealing Snickers bars. Snoop Dogg, you know, well, Snoop Dogg, I think he was in LA with, you know, kind of good high school in LA and stuff, where you have a lot of superstars come out of there, but everybody in a way, you know, made their path to greatness. And show, what I love about them is that they never stop. You know, there's some people, they make it to the top and then it vanishes because maybe they don't have a mentor, they don't have someone to keep them, or maybe they stop being interested in it. It's okay, you want to change, but I feel like, you know, you can be overwhelmed and know what to do next. But when you have a community that keeps you accountable and inspired, and you want to deliver for them, and you're just literally loving it, you can see Snoop Dogg, The Rock, J-Lo, you can see they're loving it. Like, it's not even, like, they couldn't even leave, they wouldn't even have meaning in their life if they were not acting or singing or performing or being involved in the community or doing great stuff. So some people, they're just born for this. It's beautiful to see, for all the people that are lucky enough to find a passion, something that they like to do or talk about. Then you guys are inspiration for us to continue, and that it's possible. It doesn't mean that we're all gonna make it, but at least you guys are empowering others to make it. So that's what makes you so special. What do we have left? Only this one. So this one is also from the box of 4. reminds me of the Alhambra, the Moroccan colors. They always love to mix warm colors with cold colors or vivid colors, like an orange with green or blue or yellow. You know, when you go to the south of Spain, it's very Arabic influence. So it's very beautiful. I love it. And just an encouragement to travel, to open your mind. This is when I opened myself to the world. I started traveling as young as I could. I went to Tunisia with my family friend, my friend's family. I went to England by myself as a nanny for a year. That was probably the craziest year of my life. Then I went to Thailand with a friend, Cambodia, Vietnam, went to Spain for a month. Then I went to live in Bahrain for a year and a half. I was working there at the Alliance Française. I went to Peru for a year and a half. I was a teacher at the French college. So just, if you're in your 20s, you just finished your bachelor's degree or your master's degree, my recommendation is just study. Go all the way to a master's degree if you can. Go study in France, it's free, so you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Get a master's degree, so then it's done. Everywhere you go and you want to apply for high position, no matter where you believe that people have capabilities or not, they want a degree. It's just the way it is. You go for education, you need a degree. You go to the United Nations or big organizations, they want a degree. You go to an embassy, they want degrees. Even though it doesn't mean you were the only one capable, far from it. There's a lot of people that became millionaires and ultra successful, knowledgeable and skilled just by educating themselves without degree. But most of the time they're their own boss. Okay? If me, I don't really want to be my own boss because I don't really like having a business. I love to paint. I love the culture. I love to write, but I don't really like to have a business with it. Like, I'm really bad at all business stuff. So that's not my dream, to be a business owner, unless maybe retiring and having an art gallery in France and then doing just that. But since right now my thing is really politics, so this is more like a gateway, you know, through motherhood and my school, a gateway to my career. Because for me, I haven't started my career, like I'm on my way, like it's the beginning of my career. But teacher is my gateway. My real career, what I studied for, is international negotiations. I studied international negotiations. I studied languages, world culture, ever since I had to make choices. So that's my career. My career started in Bahrain when I was a cultural director for the Alliance Française, organizing events. I was teaching also, because that's what makes money and brings the budget for the cultural events, just like my life right now. My school, my job as a teacher is what finances this, my passion, the cultural stuff. And most of the time, unfortunately, culture doesn't pay. Artists are broke. Humanitarians have to be broke. We have to get out of this limiting belief that humanitarians and artists and stuff have to be broke to be charitable. Now, if you're broke, you can bring charity to anything. You know, so if you want to be charitable, you have to make a lot of money so you can give it to others and offer jobs and opportunities. Nobody wants to work for free. Unless they really, really, really believe in your product and in your thing, and then they will do it on commission, for example. But yeah, so careers, guys, do your degrees and travel. Travel everywhere. It will open your mind. It will teach you about other cultures. It will make you more understanding towards others, less judgmental. You will love the world more. You will have a reason to defend the world. And the food, just for the food. You can travel for the food. Go to Thailand, go to Peru. They have the best food in the world. The nature, discovering new landscapes, connecting. You know, when you're alone on the other side of the world. Just like right now, I'm talking to my Facebook. I'm talking to my 3 followers, my 5 followers. Like, I don't know how people know about me because I have 3 views on all my videos. I'm like, who is it? Who are the 3? But I keep doing it because it makes me alive, and I feel like if I can have a little impact on a community or some people watching that went through what I went through, then that's already done. If you help 1 or 2, and then maybe one day it will help millions. But what I'm doing now, talking about myself, this is what I used to do in Peru. Talking about myself, but talking to the mountain, or talking to nature, or talking to squirrels, or talking to birds. So that's why I became really, really connected. And then nature chooses you because they're like, oh, she's listening, she's in tune. Okay, this person, she's gonna go to America and carry the message. No? Everything happens for a reason. So that's what happened. So travel. So if you want to see my travel books, you can go to pachamamaart.org, travel-inspirations, and you have all my travel books. So you can alternate. I did I had my high school graduation, then I had the high Hippocaine, which is like a high level literacy school. I went there for a year, and then it was just not my mentality. I couldn't thrive there, so I left. This is when I broke my arm. So then I had this year of break. Then at university, I did my bachelor's degree. I went to England for a year. Then I did my master's degree, 1 year. I went to Peru to work for a year and a half. Then I went to the US for a little bit, and then I told him, I want to go back to France. I have 1 more year to finish my master's degree. I'm going back to France to finish my master's. So of course I had to pick one of the best masters in Aix-en-Provence in the south that was very competitive. And the reason why I got selected, because we had interviews to get to this master's. You couldn't just go and sign up for it. So we had interviews to get into this master's, and what made the difference of me being hired, for this program, was because I had work internationally. I had work experience, I was already fluent in Spanish, I had work in Peru, I had already written theses and dissertations about topics in Peru. So of course the interview for me was really easy, I got it right away. Okay, compared to people who had never left school and they had not worked or not known anything, and everything was going to be first. This is just as good, but the more experiences you have, but make a combination. Okay, find a middle range between having fun and focusing on your bigger future. Doing the master's degree, of course. After 20, you've been in school for 20 years, you're like, man, I've been in school all my life for 20 years. I want to do something else. I want to go to work, make money. But maybe do a little bit more years, 3, 4, 5 years. And then at 25, I had my master's degree. Then I got hired in Bahrain. First, for my master's degree, the last year, my master's degree is internship. I got recruited in Bahrain. So I had 6 months of internship, but I negotiated with him because I had another internship in South America that I was accepted. My dream was to work in an embassy in South America, and I was accepted in an embassy in Paraguay for the social rights of indigenous people. So that was like my dream job. And I said yes. And then Bahrain calls me, and my ex-husband was working there, so I wanted to be with him. So I was like, I don't know anything about Arabic countries except for being in Tunisia once when I was 12. So that could be a great experience, because I've been to Peru, I know the Spanish, the language, but let me go to Bahrain so I can discover more about their culture and do something different. So I negotiated. When he hired me, I was like, okay, but if I'm coming for an internship, you need to hire me after, if you're satisfied with my work, but you need to hire me so I can stay. And he's like, okay, no problem. I will hire you as a cultural director if you're doing a good job in your internship. And this is when I got married and everything. And I worked in Bahrain for a year and a half because I was like, he's going to hire me. If I just do an internship in Paraguay at the embassy, they don't hire you in embassies. You have to go through selections and stuff like that. So it's a lot more difficult. So I went strategic, and I was combining the fun and my personal life with my goals, my future, my master's degree, my professional life. So I was really strategic, so I went 25 years old. I had a master's degree. I was trilingual, speaking 3 languages. I had my dream job because I was the cultural director of the Alliance Française in a Muslim country, Arabic countries. For us, how we see Arabs, it's like the big luxury, the big business guys, like the big buildings in Dubai. And it's pretty much what it is when you go there. It's just business, and then the big parties, but you don't get invited to those unless you're already high in the society. But we were making the events. We were working with all the super famous hotels, like the Crown Plaza, the Radisson Blu. We were doing events in partnership with them, cultural events, networking events. It was so cool. That was a great time. So yes, guys, and I forgot that one, of course. So let's finish talking about strategies. That's the last part of our strategies, working with SpaceX and offering technology to Russia in exchange of nuclear weapon. Look at the beautiful Russian landscape and culture and what happened on the other side. What if it was you, guys? What if it was you? What this happened to your city? You wouldn't like that, okay? You don't do to others what you wouldn't do unto others what you would them to do upon you. This is not acceptable. We can't keep killing people, so we need to keep the weapons. That's all. We need to confiscate the weapons. Everybody wants peace, but they keep building the weapons. We need to forget that. This needs to be forbidden. They say, even wars have rules. How are wars even legal? Like, you're killing people. Okay, this military, but this should be our goal, should be no more wars. We shouldn't have to fight to solve conflicts. I guess it's always been in humanity, so I don't know if this will ever stop, but we can still try, okay? Maybe if you inspire so much that they're going to want to be a part of it. The Space Olympics, it's not the Space Olympics, guys. Ooh, you're going to miss out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, everyone. This was such a pleasure showing you all these paintings, inviting you to the market, the Pop-Up Jacks market in Jacksonville tomorrow. If you're not in Jacksonville, you can order them from my website. And let's make it real, guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone. It's been also, I wanted to say, it's been a great honor to share on my social media, to know that there are people watching, important people watching, interested in those stuff, in this culture. So I was very excited to share with you the pages of my books, the themes, the people, the symbols, and all these many years of research. So you see, at the beginning, feel like you're talking to nobody, and at the end, finally, when you raise attention, maybe one day people will be like, how did you do it? But I didn't give up when you told me to quit, okay? All right, guys, have a great day. Mwah.